All right, so now we're out here in the field. It's a lovely day. It's a good day to be a chicken out here. Here we have about 500 Cornish crosses. They're about 4.5, 5 weeks old. And so we're gonna go over kind of the basics of pasture management and how we do things to maximize efficiencies while also having a good quality pasture raised bird. Some of the basics of pasture are that the birds want to be on fresh grass. So you want to be moving them all the time, because otherwise the land really gets kind of worn down. What the birds need out here in pasture is they no longer need the warmth and they do not need the protection from drafts, but they still need shelter from the sun and they need to be able to get away from rain if there's rain. Cornish crosses are not meant to run around vast distances, so you really have to keep all their food, water, and shelter in very tight locations. So you see here what we have is we have shelter, food, shelter, food, shelter, food, and the water lines actually run across the back. We've used a mix of both these trough feeders as well as the bulk feeders here. We like the trough feeders because the trough feeders, they give enough space for all the birds to be able to eat at the same time. And then the bulk feeders, you can always add extra food in there. So those bulk feeders hold about 300 pounds of feed. And so we like to fill up both. That way the birds always have access to food no matter what. The troughs give us the distance so that everybody can eat at the same time. The bulk feeders make sure there's enough food always there for them. Let's step over here and look at the waterers. So the waters that we use different waters, but the general idea is that they're always on, they're on a float valve, so I never have to worry about filling them. I never have to worry about them running out, and they're on. And so the birds can come and they can drink out of it, and then, so we have, water is running every 6 to 10 feet along the whole length of the paddock. If you look around the perimeter of the fence here, we use this electrified netting. This is Premier 1 netting, and the netting is what we use to keep the birds in and keep the predators out. We keep that fence, we want to see it around 3,500, 4,000 volts. And we've been doing this now for 7 years, and we very, very rarely have predation problems. So you got to be sure to keep your fence very, very hot. When it comes time to move these birds, what we do is we simply, we're going to move every element of it at the same time. So we're going to pick up this chicken tractor, we're going to pull it forward, we're going to pull all the feeders forward, we're going to pull all the waterers forward. And so that way the birds will follow, because the birds love their food, shelter, and water. So they're always going to follow closely with those three elements. We moved to this open cell grazing system a couple years ago. We used to use an enclosed tractor model, and what I found about that system that I didn't like is that it was very labor intensive, and you had to do things at a specific time of day. And so the birds really had to be moved first thing in the morning before it got too hot, and to make sure they had enough food, and that their waters are always full. This model gives us a lot more flexibility. We can move them any time of day. We can move them, Friday night and not have to move them again until Sunday. We can have those automatic float valve waterers. We can have bulk feeders. So we can really put a lot more out here and really cut down the time that we need to be out here managing the chickens. At this point, I can run 1,000 chickens over an 8-week cycle, and it only takes me 40 hours for the whole 8 weeks. So it's pretty efficient overall. And that's everything from the time driving to the post office, picking them up, coming back, managing in the brooder, managing in the field, and then catching. All the way until I back up the trailer to the processing facility. So that's about 40 hours all inclusive. So this is just kind of a good, efficient system.